Okay, welcome back from lunch. You're looking at the exercises we're going to go through in a few minutes. And these exercises, for anyone who is not here right now, because we have a lot of people missing, and they're going to try to do this on their own. If you're going to try and do this on your own, you need to go into your Canvas class, into the discussions forum, or discussions section, I should say, which are forum discussions. And then you're going to download this one on the top. It says in-class database activity number 1. We're going to go through the motions. We're going to run some SQL, and you're going to see how this stuff works. And I'm going to finish the SQL lecture at the same time. So let's take a look here in a few minutes at what we're going to do. But this is the tutorial I'm running through. It is only available in the Canvas class. I could, if I'm nice enough, I'll probably put it under the video. And yeah, I'll put a link to it probably under the video. But we'll see what happens with that. All right. So let's see. Last I left the PowerPoint, we were talking about database schemes and views. I was in another section talking about updates and stuff like that. So what we're really going to do is start looking at more hands-on database stuff at this point. So the program we're going to use is XAMPP. You should have that installed. If you click on the little XAMPP manager icon that looks like this guy here in my dock, looks like a little white wheel. Load it up so it looks like this. You got this lovely little window in front of you. If you're on a Windows machine, your window looks a little different. Let's first make sure we have everything installed and running. I'm going to click on Manage Servers. And it looks like I have my SQL database running and my Apache web server running. I just clicked on the center button here. It says Manage Servers. So if you have that, we're ready to go. Click back on the Welcome. And now we want to go into Go to Application. If you're on a Mac, if you're on a Windows machine, you got to go into the Admin button that's right next to it. This is what we want to see. We want to see a screen that looks like this. Of course, this one says for Mac OS X, but your Windows machine is gonna, maybe it says Windows on it, I don't know. But this is the screen we want. Actually, Windows bypasses it, I think, and goes directly. If you're on a Mac, you want to click this one here. It says Php Myadmin. It's under the Tools section. If you want to see some cool stuff, before I do that, I'm going to go over here. There's some status information, security documentation. I'll leave this to your own if you want to learn more about XAMPP. There's some demos in here that use XAMPP. What is that? What we're really looking at is a PHP interface to a MySQL database running on a server, Apache server. So you can read all about it. There's a phone book. Here's a nifty little phone book, PHP with SQLite. There's a CD collection. These are example applications that are running. These applications don't do this, but let me show you something nifty. These applications are actually in your applications folder. And if you go into your applications folder, don't do it, but if you do that, you can go into htdocs. If you want to write your own stuff and stick it in here, if you get into web development or something, it would go in htdocs, and you could load it directly from your local host. All right, so what we want to do, because this is a database class, is we're going to go into Php Myadmin. We do that, we get this screen here. So I'm going to wait a little bit, make sure you guys are all here, hopefully. And if we click on the one over here where it says Databases, we have a list of databases on the right that match the list of databases on the left. Now, I have one in here called Sophia. That's because this is the second time through in the last quarter I taught this class, and I made a Sophia folder. I'm going to actually delete this folder, I think. Or I'll just leave it. Let's see. I'll just leave it alone. I'll create a new one. We'll do a Saturday folder or something. We'll create it something new. Because some of you who are using those lab computers, you might have the Sophia folder already. Yeah, you do. Yeah, so it's okay. He has it, so we'll just start fresh. How's that? Okay. So I'm going to go back now to the PDF file and orient you to that one. Oops. So leave the screen open. I'm going to take a brief moment here to see what we're going to be doing. We're going to be working with this database that we're going to create. We're going to create everything. And don't worry, you can cut and paste and stick everything in there. We're going to create everything, and then we're going to populate it with some data, and then we're going to run some queries on it so we can see how everything, basically all that stuff we looked at. So we have a hotel database, and you see it, hotel number is underlined, which means that's a primary key. Name and address, and we have room number, hotel number. It's a composite. Well, actually it's not a composite. The room number is primary key for room. Hotel number is a foreign key for hotel. Then we have type and price, and then we have a booking. So we have a hotel number from here. This is a relationship table, by the way. A guest number from here, and a date from date to date. And then we have a guest with a guest number and a name and address. So you can probably tell that this is a hotel, a room, and guest were originally entities. And the booking was a relationship between the guests booking rooms at hotels, which is how this works. So you can probably visualize at this point, maybe. I'm not going to draw the entity relationship diagram because we want to do a few more here. Creating the tables and ignoring the foreign key and the primary keys. So now I'm going to go back to you can leave it on here. I want to go back to here for a moment. Give you the background. Oops, it's not exactly what I wanted. Let me go to the right place I wanted. Because we can do this and the other simultaneously. So remember those bars and the beers and the drinkers that we had earlier. In this lecture, it's going to build those tables. In our lecture, we're going to build it and see it in MySQL because the syntax is slightly different. So the database scheme comprises of the declarations of the relations, which are the tables. So before we can get started with MySQL, we have to make a database. And then inside the database, which is considered just an object, inside the database, we're going to create some tables. And then in the tables, we're going to populate it with the data. Many different kinds of elements may appear in a database scheme, including views, indexes, triggers, things of that nature. We're going to look at the table first. So the simplest form looks like this. It says create table with a table name and then a list of elements. So you can remove the relation from the database by saying drop table to get rid of it. So I'll show you a few of those and we can see how that works. The columns that we're putting in have data types associated with them. And the data types, for example, here are the elements of the table declaration. Could be integers, reals, floats, variable characters. We're going to see that live in a few minutes. But here's an example, and this is an easier one to look at because it's on the database we just looked at. Remember the sales table? This is the relationship to keep track of the beers and what bars are selling beers. So create table is really the SQL statement that we're using, the keyword, and then we're going to give it a name, cells. And then we have bar, beer, and price. These are the data types that are associated with it. Now it's written like this, and the PDF file I'm going to give you, what we're going to look at in a few minutes, is also written the same way. You can put the whole thing on one line, however, but it's nice to do it this way with a tab or something in between, because then you can tell which data types are associated with which. Excellent. So character and variable character. Character is usually not as big. Usually it's an A, a B, a C, like a single character. 1 to 20 or so characters. It doesn't support the same length as a variable character. Variable character supports really, really long strings of characters, and it also supports international characters. So one of them is a little bit heavier weight than the other. In a perfect world, we would make everything just variable character. And this slide set is just showing you two different ones because there's two options. Real is that's why that's why I want to use the PDF file in a few minutes. Because real is a number, but not every database uses real. Sometimes they use the word number. So this is like a real whole integer, real number. Huh? It's for price. I know, it should probably be double. Yeah. 20 characters length is the length. So 20 is the length, and real doesn't specify. Actually, put number in here instead of real, and you would see the, well, actually, I'm surprised it's not double or float, because you want two decimal places. Price is generally like $5.50. If you do integer or real, you're looking at $5. Truncate. Well, $6 if it's $5.50. But yeah, it's truncating it. So let's take a look at this one. This one is a little different. This one says create table hotel, and it has hotel number. Remember that field we saw in the previous one here, hotel number. Name and address is what we're going to put in here. So it has hotel number, name, and address. It's kind of the same except for I didn't put as much space in here. But this one's going to use character 4 for the number. Name is going to use variable character, and then address is going to be variable character. And then the not null next to it means it cannot be null. So it's you can put null, not null. Actually, if you leave it out, it can be null. If you put not null next to it, then it can't be empty. So we have another table here, and then we have another table here. We have another table here. And then we have some strings to populate the database. So I'm going to go back up here, and we're going to use a simple cut and paste on this, but we're not going to do it yet because I want to create the object first. Where's my, I think it's in, here it is. Okay. So on the top up here, where it says create, so click on it, go back in here, click on the top where it says databases, up here on the top left-hand corner. So first thing we're going to do is create a database. So we're underneath it here where it says create database. What are we going to call our database? Saturday, I don't know. You can call it anything you want, really. Huh? Holiday? Hotel? That's going to be one of our tables inside. We can do this SQL 1. Okay, while we're thinking about database names, let me pause. All right, I'm going to call mine just for fun. Just for fun. Call it anything you want to call it. Just remember what you call it. Well, actually, you don't have to. It's going to show up in the list. Leave it on collation up here. It's a format for the database object. Leave it on the default, whatever it says up there, and go ahead and press create. And when you see it on the left-hand side, I see my just for fun highlighted. Now we want to be clicked in just for fun, because if you click on the minus, if you click on the plus actually and click, you'll get to the minus. There's absolutely nothing in it. Nothing in it at all. So now what I'm going to do is click on this little window next to me here that says SQL. And I'm going to cut and paste this one here just for fun. This create table hotel. Edit, copy. Let's just paste it in here. Let's see. I'm going to see what it does. Oops, and I have to use the edit window because I'm in Safari. So it says create table hotel, hotel number, 4 characters, not null, name. And you kind of see it kind of like ended up being on one line. The whole thing, as I was mentioning before, like in SQL, you can put the whole thing on one line if you want. And then press the go button over here, the lower right hand corner. And it says that MySQL returned an empty result set, 0 rows. That's because it didn't have anything to return. It was a create table, it didn't return anything. But now I see I have a hotel table over here. And if I open it up, I see I have a name, address, a hotel number. So let's see if we can all get to this point. Okay, so we created our first table, and as you notice, it's over here. There's also other things in here. You can do this with GUI. You don't have to do this with SQL, but because today is all about SQL, I'm doing it with SQL. But you can use the GUI here to insert, to run, to create tables, to change the table structure. And for example, if I click on, well, let's see. If I click on the hotel database and I click on the structure, I see that I have a hotel number, a name, and an address in here. If I wanted to, I can click on this little arrow here. Let's just play around with the, here I'll play around with the name here. And I can click on change, which is what I just did. And then I have this up here where I can change the length, maybe I can change the attributes. What am I changing? I'm changing this information here that I originally put in for my create table command. Now, notice I said not null, not null, not null. Well, let's take a look to see the effect of that. In the columns themselves, we don't have a not null, do we? I don't see it in here. Let's see. I don't see it in my GUI, but generally there's a column. Here, let's just go in. What is the structure? Generally there's an indicator. Here's null. Null, it says right here. It says no, 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 which means I set that flag not null. So what we're doing with the query, with the create table, is we're actually setting these settings for us automatically. So a lot of people like the queries to create tables and do things like that because well, they find that the GUI is too slow, or they want to be able to set things automatically. So let's do this a couple of more times. So click back on the just for fun. So you're at the top, or whatever you called it. If you want to, you could actually do it this way, which is the slow way, because we're on the table. We're looking at table, and we have one table up here that's called hotel. And then down here we have a means of creating another table. Don't do this, but I'm gonna show you what I mean. So if I type in test, and I press go, and my number of columns in test is 4, and I press go. Now I have a new database called test down here, and I'm gonna say first, second, third, fourth, and they're all ints right now. And I'm going to just press save. In my test database that's in just for fun, I have just did it manually instead of using the SQL query. Purposes of this class, you hate SQL, don't want to play around with it, you don't actually have to use it, but I have to show it to you because that's part of the class. You can actually use the GUI, which is why people like Php Myadmin. It's a GUI interface to SQL. Everything you do with SQL, you can do with the GUI. In fact, let's put some. I'm just going to show you real quickly here. I'm going to let's see. I'm going to add. No, I'm not going to add a column in here. Let's see. Let me browse it here. And no. More triggers. I'll leave it alone. I can actually, I was going to add some data to it, but it's going to be too tedious. I don't even want to do it. So let's not do it. But you can add data to the table this way as well. So I'm going to remove this by going into the SQL window. And I'm going to say, and I'm clicked inside of just for fun. So I'm going to go to, don't do this because you didn't do this, but I'm going to say drop test. And press go. And it's going to tell me that you have an error. Check the manual. How about drop table test? Let me try this. Drop table test. Get my syntax correct at least. There we go. Now if I open and close this, test is still here. It says it doesn't exist, but I'm still seeing it. Let me refresh here. Let me refresh. Test is now gone. Okay, there we go. So drop table test was one of those commands we actually looked at earlier today. So let's go back and put in the rest of the tables. Now, when we put the tables in, we want to make sure we're clicked on the just for fun or whatever you called it, and then open up the SQL window. So you're looking at here. And here's something you can do actually. You could take this create table room as an example. You don't have to do it this way. You could do it individually if you wanted to. But I'm going to put them all in here, and then I'm going to run them all at one time. And I could have easily had stored those in a file. And then I'm going to put the other one in here too. Booking. And let's see what else we got. Guess. Got some guess in here too. And they're all using the same data types and everything. So I put 3 of them in there, and then I'm going to press go, and all 3 of them executed. And so it says, as long as I get this green here, it says returned an empty result set. And then oops, I'm not behaving. Let's refresh. There we go. I seem to have to need to refresh my screen. So now I have guest, hotel, and room, and booking. So I put multiple things in here. So what a lot of people would do, actually, in the real world, is take all their table commands, or create table, and it really is just the syntax of create table, the name of the table, opening and closing brackets here, with a list of the columns that they want and the data types associated with it. You're going to learn about the data types as you start using the databases, and MySQL has different data types which are different from the lecture. For example, this one actually does say decimal on it, and it says 5 places and 2 decimal, 5 numbers with 2 decimal. And this one just says 1 character, and this is the type. And then hotel number, well, it's 4 characters. Means if you can put in a character, that means you can store it like a string, so you can have like B19 or something, or A something or other. So you can put a mixture, for characters you can put a mixture of numbers and characters in there. So go ahead and build the rest of your tables so you have this. And let me give you a few minutes for anyone who's having issues. Now that we have our tables created, this is what it should look like. And now we're going to populate the tables with some data. So if we continue down, this is basically a step-by-step tutorial. That's what this is. So this was creating the tables. That was really the first part. And ignoring, we didn't specify. And the next one we're going to do is we're going to specify some primary keys and some foreign keys. And I'm going to show you in the software in a few minutes how you could do it if you wanted to. But this one is just ignoring it. And we have the 4 tables here. Now to populate the tables, this is done every other because the inserts are every other. The blue and the blue and the black. So it says insert into hotel. Remember that. Values. This is a hotel number, the name, and the location or something. And then insert into room. This is the hotel. This is the table we're inserting into. Insert into is the SQL command we saw before lunch, actually. So insert into hotel, insert into room, and we're taking the short form. So we're not specifying the columns, which is good and all, except for we need to know that the columns are in the right order. Well, if you cut and pasted those commands and stuck them in there, we know we have the columns in the right order. It's the order that we created them. For example, if I look at hotel, hotel number, name, and address, and then number, name, address. So we have to put this in the right order as we created the table itself. So insert into room, values 1. Let's see, room is, I'm not going to go through them all, but now I'm kind of curious. Room has a room number, hotel number, and then type and price. So room is a room number, hotel number, type, single, price $72. Insert into guest, insert into booking. This is going to put 1 record in there for us. So you could do this. You could actually copy this whole thing and paste it in the SQL window. Make sure you're still in this, you're clicked on just for fun or whatever you called it. And then press go. And you got an error. Why do we got an error? Good question. This is an interesting phenomena. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so you can sort of see what I'm talking about. Because we're cutting and pasting, we have to make sure we're getting the right character types. And because I'm seeing a lot of red, I know my query is not right. So I'm going to take a look to see what's wrong with it. And I can visually see right here that is the wrong, that's the wrong character symbol. In fact, I can see it on hotel probably, but I'm not sure. So I'm going to go backspace over and make sure these character symbols are correct, which they appear to be for this one. Let's see. This is because I cut and pasted it in. And we have drums going on. I hear the drums. So I know that the hotel over here was the wrong. Looks like it actually looks like that may have actually fixed the problem. Let's see. I'm gonna zoom out, run this query again. It may have only been one. Yeah, there was only one funny character that was in mine. So now we have an entry in each one. So if I click on booking, I see down here, I see some data. I click on guess. I actually clicked on guess. I have John Smith, he's in London. I click on hotel. I have the Grosenbo Hotel in London. That makes me want to travel now. Room. So not only do you have a beer habit from this morning, now you're going to be going on vacation soon. Yeah? Yeah, let me pause this first. Okay, we're back. So everybody was able, hopefully, to insert the rest of those tables in. I want to play around with this a little bit to show you how the query engine works with the interface. Right now we've been just cutting and pasting and sticking into the window. I just clicked on the guest. And if I click on the guest, I get here, and I see down on the bottom, I have the guest number, the name, and the address. If I click on the SQL window, I see it says select star from guest where 1. Now that's kind of like not a standard query. That's more of my PHP admin kind of syntax. I could turn that into a standard query by doing this and just saying select star from guest. Actually, here, let's just do it like this. It's from guest. And then put the queries that we were learning earlier today. So select star from guess, and then if I press go, it's going to give me the results down here. So what I want to do is kind of insert some more data into guess, but I want to show you how to do the insert to the ones that we've learned so far. So I'm going to click back on the SQL window, and you see on the bottom where it says select star, select, insert, update, delete. Click on the one that says insert. When you do insert, it shows you the long form of the value. Let's stick a couple people in there. Put some more guests in there. And so we have the columns guest number, name, and address as a visual over here. We could actually click this way and bring them over this way. I just messed up my window though, so I'm going to click back on in the insert, and I'm now back to where I was before. This is a little template I can fill out, and I can use it as is by changing the values. So if the value was guest number, and now what I'm doing, let me zoom in so you can see what I'm going to do here, and I want you to do the same thing actually. See where it says value 1? I'm going to take out value 1, and guest number, I'm going to put in 222. And then the next one's going to be name, and this is going to be Larry. You can put in anyone who you want. And then the address is going to be 123 Sesame Street. I like that one. It could be anything you want. And then I'm going to put a semicolon at the end. So what I've done is I've inserted the values. And if I press go, I can sort of see that it said one row inserted now. And it gave me the syntax. So I'm going to leave this out here as an example. And I'm going to make it a little bit bigger here for a few minutes. I'm going to pause this for a second because I want you to stick a few people in there. Oh, hello. So let me pause this. So zoom this here. I'm going to try the insert one more time, but I'm going to play around with it a little bit. I'm going to take out these little quotes that are in here. So, oh, this is select. I didn't want to select. Insert into guest. And I'm going to take these quotes out too. Guest number, name, address, address. And I'm going to put the values in. Now the values, I still have to put the quotes around. But I want to add another person anyway. So I'm going to put, it's going to be 666. Ooh, that's an unlucky guest number. And their name is going to be Mo. That's like Larry, Curly, and Mo. I'm going to stick Larry, Curly, and Mo in my database. And his address is 123 Sesame Street. 456 Jump Street. Jump Street. And now I'm going to kind of save myself a little bit of typing. I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to copy this one. Oops. Paste. Edit. Paste. And then I'm going to change the names here. Because I got Mo. I like Mo. Larry. I need to put Curly in here. Curly. And I'm going to change his number to 777. And then Larry Curly. I already have Larry in there from the previous one. So I'm going to put Bob. Bob's going to be in my database. His number is going to be 123. And I'm going to change this address to 999 Nowhere Avenue. And then we have Curly. Let's see, where's Curly going to live? He's going to live at 777 Jackpot Lane. There we go. And then I'm going to press to go. And then I see one row affected. One row affected. How many guests did I stick in here? Oh, I got them all in here. Larry, Curly, Mo, and Bob. So now if I press on guess itself, so what I did, just in case I did this too quickly, is I kind of went over here when I was all done and I pressed on it. So let me give you some more time to catch up with this. The question came up, how do we put data in without using the insert? Because today's all about SQL. I thought we should use SQL for that. But let's say you don't want to. Right now we're on the browse, so we can see the information. Because here we see the structure. We go all the way over here to insert. We see insert. So for the insert, we can put a value in for the guest number. I'm going to put in here, who do I not have in here? 888. So you see where it says value for guest and for name. I'm going to put in here Mr. Bill. And then his address, where's Mr. Elm Street? Elm Street. 9 Elm Street. And then if I press go, he's in the database. And the funny thing is I see the SQL query underneath here. So it says insert into justforfun.guess. And it's guest number, name, address, values, 888 Mr. Bill, and 9 Elm Street. So if I go back to the insert, you see where I have like 2 of them here? 1, 2. You can put in, like, have it go for multiples. Or you could do one at a time this way. So I'm going to add another one in, guest number 0, 1, 2. And who's this guy going to be? Homer. Where does Homer live? What's the name of the city? Somerville or something? Springville. 55. I'm making it up. Springville Lane. I got Homer in there too. So if I go back to browse, there's Homer, there's Mr. Bill. I added those 2 in using the insert menu. Now I gotta remember SQL on the spot here. Let's see. Maybe you guys can help me out. You guys are all experts. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people in my guest folder. So I'm gonna click on SQL, and here's a select stars. Good, or we have a select. We have an insert update. Well, I have a query I want to do on my own. I want to see how many people are in there. So instead, I'm going to do this one. Remember the aggregates we learned earlier on today. It was a select, was a count, and I'm going to count star from, and the table I want to count from is from guests. And you see as I am guest number, now I'm going to do guest number as the table, but you see as I type, this little window comes up and kind of gives me some help as I'm typing. If I just press another key after that, it will stop the window and it'll stop the query. And this one worked. And it was select count with an asterisk from guest. And what did I get? I got 7. So you can see right down here I've got the query result. So if I come back here and say, let's try this one again, select count asterisk as my count from guest. I don't know why I want to make guest plural. Remember that alias we were looking at earlier? There it is here. So now my column's going to be my column's going to be called my count. So then I'm going to go back this way and press go. And it says my count now. So here it says my count 7. If you get an error, hold on one second. Let's just wait for a moment. Let me pause. So now you can go through all of those commands you thought were so boring earlier this morning, or I thought they were maybe, and look at them. And that was lecture number 5. And now you can run them on the guest database if you wanted to see how they work. We can actually, do we have anything with money? We have hotel. We could sum. No, we don't have anything with money. Room. Booking. Booking has money in it. Booking has a date, check-in and a check-out date. I thought one of these has a cost in it. Hotel maybe? Or maybe the room had a cost. So I think I clicked on it. Yeah, room has a cost of $72. So we could sum all the rooms. As an example, select sum of, what are we selecting? The sum of price. Actually, it's over here. If I click on it, it doesn't go in. Oh, yes, it does. If I click on it, it does go in. I have to double click on it though. Sum price. And I don't like those little things. I'm going to take those out. Sum price from room. And then I've got $72 is the sum. But I only have one room in there, so I'm going to actually add another room in there. So if I browse the room, I only have one room. I'm going to put some more rooms in there. I'm going to insert, just because I want to make this more interesting for myself. Room number 2, hotel, 555 or 222. Type deluxe, and this price is going to be $150. Then let's see. I'm going to make my life easier here. I'm just going to cut and paste and put a few more in. I'm doing this so I can do some aggregates to get the average price. Alright, so let's see. I already got 2 in there, so I'm going to make this one 3. You don't have to do this. I'm just doing this to make my life interesting. 4, 5, 6. And the hotel number, I'm going to leave the hotel number all the same, 222. I don't think we have one in. And the type are all going to be deluxe. Let's just change the prices around a little bit. So we got one at 100. I'm going to put like a real cheap room in here for $50. And I'm going to put one in here for $125. And this one's going to be expensive. This is going to be $275. There we go. Oops, what have I got here? There we go. So now if I browse my rooms, you can see now I have 72, 150, 100. Oh, I left out a semicolon. I left out a semicolon at the end of the line. So I put a semicolon in a few seconds ago when I changed it. Yeah. So one of the things you can do, and let me just do this one more time so you guys can sort of see what I'm talking about. If I do an insert like this and I go 5, 222, type T, whatever that is, and this is $25. This is for transients, like homeless people. Or I'll put it in here, H for homeless people. homeless people rate is $25. Just guessing. If I press return, you see how it actually gave me the query in the box there. So what I did a few minutes ago, if you hadn't noticed, is I cut and pasted it, but I accidentally removed one of the, so I did this to it, but I accidentally removed one of the semicolons, which is why I had to put that back. But if I do this and just paste it all in, it saves me a little bit of typing room. So let's make a couple of more. This is at the Hotel 222. They have this homeless rate, and this other rate here is going to be $55. Let's say. Room number 7. What you want to see is this green little thing up here on the top. Make sure it's successful. There you go. It says 1 row affected. So now if I browse my table, it looks like I've got, wow, I got my 2 homeless ones, or 3 of them I put in actually, it looks like. So I got the one of them in twice. So now if I go to the SQL window, I can do a price. I can go select, every query you have is going to start out with, here I'll do it in caps so you can see this, select from where. So if I'm working with the select from where, and the from in my particular case is going to be that table that I put together. Hello, looking for someone? No? Okay. And the table that we're doing this from is called room, so select from room. And where, well, let's just leave the where out. Actually, I'll put the where in. I'm going to do the sum price where room number is equal to, what was that one I put in there? 222? 222, I think. That query should work, actually. Null. Select. How did I get null back then? Room number is 222. Oh, you know, I don't think I have a rule number. There's no room number. I think it was the other one. It was a hotel 222. Yeah. Yeah. Do I have any that are same? Let's see. Room number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I got 2 5s in here. Let's try 5. Oh, I got a lot of 5s. Let's do 5. All right. Where? 5. Yes. This is the sample query that I'm running. And it's a select, it is also being recorded. So if you wanted to later on, you can download the YouTube video and kind of take a look at it too, if I'm typing too fast for you. Basically what I'm doing is I'm going through some of the commands I showed you this morning in the PowerPoint video, or PowerPoint lecture. Making them more interesting too by making them real, something you actually type in. Are you good? Should I leave it? So let's just make sure that one works. And it does. Oh, there's 3. But I can't, you know, this time I counted the price. I probably should have summed the price. Because there's 3 rooms. If I made some of the prices null and I counted them, I'm going to get a different count than the count asterisk, which is what I was trying to show you this morning. Are we good? Okay. Does anyone need more time to play around with what you're doing? Okay, we'll go back. Back at the ranch, we had this little tutorial going on. We populated the tables. Remember that part. Now here's an update. We're going to update room, and we're going to set the price to equal price times 105. Okay. So I'm going to edit copy. And what we're doing here is we're updating the table room. So, did I have any rooms in there? I think I did. Set the price is equal to price times 105. room. Oh yeah, that's the one I was putting all the stuff in there. So I'm going to click on the MySQL window. Let's take a look at the before. The before, I've got a $72 room, $150, $100. I'm going to remember all that. So I'll just remember the first one. It says $72 on it. Now I'm going to go to the SQL window. And I'm going to paste in that query. And it says update room, set price is equal to price times 105. And then I'm going to do this. I'm going to go, okay. And then I'm going to click on the browse. 105. Oh, it's only 5%. So $75.60 now. Before it was $75. And now it's everything's got cents next to it now, it looks like. See how that worked? So I updated the room table. And because I didn't specify out a particular condition, it took the whole table. So I could do this. And this, what we're doing is we're just practicing a little bit with SQL. So let me paste this thing in again. Update room. Set price is equal to, let's double it, 5.05. Where, let's just put a where condition in here. Where room number, where room is equal to 5, huh? Say that one more time. Typo? Yeah. Oh, we could do that one. Oh, we could do that one. Type. We've decided we're no longer going to care for the homeless. And what was those H's? I think they were H's. Where type is equal to H. Oh, you were trying to give me some database rules. So now I updated the room and I set the price is equal to price times 5.05. Where the type is equal to H. Well, no, the homeless rooms were kind of, let's look at the homeless rooms now. Oh, they're more expensive now than before. Before they were like $50 and $55. Now they're like more expensive. The homeless rooms are more expensive than some of the other ones. So, it doesn't pay to be homeless in this database. So, let's see. What else can we do? Now let's see what's next. So we updated. You can use the update command along with the table name, and you can set something. Set price to something. Set date to something. If I didn't like my numbers, I could set my numbers to something else. Or I can select a condition on the where. So we created the separate tables with the same structure as the booking table to hold the archive records. Now we're going to, using the insert statement, copy the records from the booking table into the archive table, which is what we're going to do next, relating to bookings before January 1st, 2000. And delete all the bookings before January 1st, 2000 from the booking table. So we have a booking table old. So we're going to create one more table here. And now to make an archive out of some of the data from our other tables. So just like before, I'm just going to highlight this because I don't want to type it in, but we're using another create table command. So I'm going to preview copy. And I'm going to go over to the database out here. Now, I'm going to make sure I'm clicked on the just for fun. And then click in the SQL window. And let's paste this in. And hopefully it pastes correctly. So what I did is I copied and pasted the booking old table. I'm going to press go. So now I have a table called booking old, which has the same structure as the booking table. The booking old table kind of looks like this. So we have the date from, to from, the guest number, and the hotel. So So I'm going to pause this for a second to let you guys catch up. The question was asked, can you create a table without using the SQL command? And I said, sure, why not? If I click on just for fun as an example, and I look at the table action tables here, and I have my tables in here, it says create table on the bottom. I can say Homer, now let's see, which table should we do? Special events, special table. And you say the number of columns that you want, and then you press go. And then you have to fill it in manually. So if special had a, I don't know, room number, and let's leave that as a variable character, and the length is 20. Looks pretty good. Default, do we want a default null? No, we'll just leave it alone. Huh? Oh, let me go back and show you. I think I can be able to do this with the back button. Yes, I can, because it didn't put it in here. So make sure you're in the right database. I think my local host is confused here. See on the bottom here it says create table. You can hardly tell, but this is how you would actually put the name of a table in here. Right here. Okay, let me go take a look then. If you click on the database itself, you can see above the list of the databases. So the database, not the tables. You have to click on the database. And this gives you database commands versus table commands. So there's a hierarchy to this. We have an outer database object, and then inside of the database object we have the tables and the views and things that we're going to create. So the idea is that if it's all housed together, we can just copy this and move it to another computer if we wanted to, or save it. So it's kind of like a hierarchy. But yeah, if you put down special in here, I'm just going to play around here. And you know, special's got too many. I'm going to only give it 2 columns because I'm lazy. And now I'm going to have name. These are for special people. And guest number. guest number. And the guest number is going to be a variable character. Guest number could be a character. Oh, here we go. We have decimal, float, double. In fact, if you want to know the data types, here's a good way. I just figured this out, actually. Integer is supported. I don't know why it wasn't working in mine. Huh? Yeah. Oh, tiny int, small int, medium int, big int. Date, time, timestamp, year. These are all the different data types you can use in MySQL. I'm going to use text. Nah, I'm going to use variable character. Variable character comes in handy for a lot of different things. So for the name, I'm going to put to 20. For the guest number, I'll just put, I don't know, 10. And null, so you want it to be not null, you want it to be null, you can. Otherwise, if you go null, it makes it so you can have null. If you leave it off, it's not null. So if I just press save, then it says some errors occurred in the server. I'm going to ignore those errors, but I still have my special table. Here's my special table here. And then I can change this one here. And if I click on the change, I can change the attributes for this one. I don't really want to change it. But if I wanted to, let's say go back into booking. And I click on the structure. I have the same thing. So I can drop, create a primary key, unique key, stuff like that. Not today. Next time, we'll be working with primary and foreign keys. And we'll be joining tables together and running more sophisticated queries. But today is just about SQL and it's about the database. So we still have 3 more class sessions after today. 3 more 8-hour days. So we have plenty of time to get through the rest of it. Yeah? Primary key and unique. A primary key means that only one row is identified by this key. Meaning, like, if it was a student, your primary key might be your student ID or your social security number. Unique means that the row value has to be unique, but it's not going to be used as a primary key. So you might say, well, primary key is unique. It is, but the index of the table is based on the primary key. So really they're the same thing, except for the primary key is indexed and the unique key isn't. So if you say something is unique, it's basically saying that it's a primary key. If you want it indexed, you call it a primary key. And you can have more than one unique. You can only have one primary key. Unique means the same thing as primary key, except for the values need to be different for every row that's inserted into the database table. We could play around with this, actually. I'm going to go back to my, which one was it, the room? No, the guess. Huh? Unique? Can't be null. How's it going to be unique? Let's see. Let's play around with this for a second here. I'm going to go into guess. And I'm going to show you something here. Guess numbers. Let's look at the structure. We have guess number here. And guess number, I'm going to make guess number a primary key. It says, do you really want to execute alter table guess, add primary key guess number? I'm going to say, yeah, I do. So I added it. And so let's take a look at our data here. Let me browse the table now. And my guess numbers, I think, are unique right now. Yes, they are. But I have a guess in here, Larry, and he's guess number 222. I'm going to try and insert another row using guess number 222 and see what happens. So if I have it in here and this one's supposed to be unique, nobody can share the same guess number because it's a primary key. And theoretically, I would have a foreign key in another table that would also be the same as this value. So now if I go over to the SQL query, 222 for the guess number is the one I want to do. I'm going to insert, and I'm going to insert it into guess, and the values are going to be 222. And this is going to be, it doesn't really matter what the other values are. I'm purposely putting in the wrong value. I'm putting in a duplicate value because I want to see the database come back and tell me that there has been referential integrity and that the primary key, you have to put in a unique primary key. I'm looking for an error message that's going to come out of here. Name is going to be Smith. He's the violator. And his address, I don't know what it is. I'm just going to put something in here. Not unknown. He's got an unknown address. If you do this, you're going to get an error message. And it's going to say down on the bottom, duplicate entry 222 for key primary. So you can't put the same customer in twice. This is the error to be expected because there's a primary key that's unique. And somebody else is already using 222, so I can't put them in. If I wanted to put them in, I'd have to change this one maybe to 223. That would actually work just fine, and it does. So they call it a row-based constraint, and it's on a primary key. And the constraint basically makes it so you only have one key at a time that matches that value. So I can uniquely identify each one of these people by this key value in here. And then that other one here, let's see, name. I'm going to print out the names. I'm going to do another query here, actually. I'm going to do a select guest number, name, address. Now let's just say select star. Now let's go here. I want to select the names. Select name. Now I'm just blank. I don't like these quotation marks, by the way. From guess. Where? Oh, you know what? I'm going to do this. Guess space G. G1. Remember B bears with B1, B2? Guess space G2. Where G1 is less than G2. Zoom in here. Maybe I should see if this query works first. Oh, G1.name. Yeah. I'm like, maybe I should see if this works first. From this morning, what's that going to do? I'm querying the table on the table. Oops, I have this wrong. G1. If I just, actually, I think it's because it corrected it for me. G2. G1.name is less than G2.name, so I have the 2 guess with guess, querying G1 with G2. This is the same table, guess, but I'm referring to it as G1 and G2. And I'm selecting the name, and I'm going to do it where G1.name is less than G2.name. Let's just make sure this sucker works here. And I will just copy it here. Then I'll put it back. No, we got a problem here. Column name in field list is ambiguous. No, it's not. That's why. G1.name. So I had an error message a few minutes ago. It told me that the name was ambiguous. I went, how can that be? No, it's not. And then I realized I was just using name by itself up here. And the question I have is, which name am I talking about? The name from G1 or the name from G2? So then I went, okay, let's just do G1 name. Let's see if that works, actually. No more ambiguity there. So what do you think this did? This gave me the alphabetical order. B, C, H, B, C, J, but it gave me duplicates. Bob, Bob, Curly, Curly, Johnson. So if I do this, change the query around a little bit. I'm glad I pasted it. I'm going to use distinct now. And this was G1, so I'm going to do it G2. But I'm going to go distinct. Actually, I'll put G1. It doesn't really matter. I'll put G1 back there. Distinct's only going to give me one of them. If it gives me anything at all. Bob, Curly, Homer, Johnson, Larry, Moe, Mr. Bill. And what this is this is the query that we were looking at earlier in the PowerPoint slides that were showing us that how to do something in alphabetical order. So this is the excuse me, this is the alphabetical order trick. Remember when we were trying to put the names in alphabetical order? And we queried the query, the table onto the table. Because we wanted the names in alphabetical order. We could do this differently though if we wanted to. Did you have a question, or did you want me to see something? I'm going to go back. So on the select, let's see if I can get this a little bit bigger. So remember this part. From today. You're following the syntax, and if I start, actually, I'm going to put some spaces in here, actually. If I start with a from, and I want to do the table twice, because I want to find pairs or something. And if I want to do it twice, I would put the table name down there normally like this if I were talking about guess, right? If I do this, it's ambiguous. So the space with the G1, or this is actually G2, it's almost like an alias. So now I have two tables, G1 and G2. So everywhere else in the query, I reference it as G1 and G2. So if I wanted to do that, then up here I can go select, so I'm going to write a different query here. G1 dot, what do we have here? Guess number. Let's do guess number. Actually, this is nice, a little pop-up window. Tells me guess number, name, and everything else. Let's see. There we go. Guess number. Oops, not guess. I want to do G1. G1 dot guess number. And where well, this is a good one. Where G1 dot guess number is greater than G2 dot guess number. I hate it when you press the enter. It gives you the wrong one. That's going to give me the guess numbers in descending order. Biggest one first. And interesting results. Interesting. What did I do here? G1 dot larger than D2. Larger than. Yes, number. Huh. Yeah, it's ascending order. I thought it was going to do descending order. It did ascending order on me. I have to take a look at, oh, what am I doing? I'm returning G1. I'm returning the first one. I have to return the second one. Let's see. Let's copy this one. Let's see if this will work. Probably a way, edit in line. Ah, look at that. There's a way of doing it. Edit in line did it for me. I'm going to make this one G2. So I'm getting the second one and not the first one. Let's see. It's the same table, but it's a query from the table onto the table. So it's the same, no, oh, 0, 1, 2. So it's the same table twice. Here, let me do it this way so you can sort of see. You're querying the table onto the same table together. And you're doing that because you want to compare one with the other. So if you can take the first row, compare it with the second. It's almost like doing a search through the table to find who has the highest price room, or who, I don't know, there's different reasons for it. This is, I was just doing a comparison with numbers. When you're trying to do a comparison to organize the data that's in the single table, you have to turn it into two tables to actually do it. You'll probably never do this in practice, but it's one of those things that if you have to find data from the table. Otherwise, as an example, I could do ascending or descending. I could just select them and then do ASC or DSC, ascending or descending order, and select all of them. As an example, let's say, select guest number from, what's the name of this table? Guest. Ascending. So I'm selecting the guest number from guest, and then I'm going ASC, which is going to change my order to ascending order. And now I'm just selecting the guest number. If I do that, I get this, an error. Let's see. You have an error in your query. Check the manual. It corresponds to your SQL version and the right syntax to use ascending. It won't let me use it in that context. Maybe I can do a group by. Order by. Let me just try something here. Name. Order by guest number. Let's see. That one works. Order by would work. Here, let me zoom in so you can see this query. I changed the query a little bit. I said select name, comma, guest number from guest, order by. It's going to change my order. It's like the group by that we saw, but the order by just changes the order in which the results show up. And order by guest number, ascending order. So I have a 0, 1, 2, 2. So this is ascending order. So if I go descending order, I just switch it around. Now that I know I can edit in line, I can put in here descending, descending, and then descending is just going to switch my order around. So now it's the highest to the lowest. So the order by gives you the, you can add it to anything to order the results any way that you want them. The group by is, remember that one from this morning. I can change the whole series here and say, what's in here? Guess. Let's add up, we can't use guess. Let's use the room. We want the average price, let's say. So if I run a query on room and I have price, let's take a look at the query we were writing this morning with the group by. So I could select hotel number, and then I also want average price from what is this table? Room, where that's good. Group by hotel number. Remember this one from this morning. So select hotel number, comma, average price from, this doesn't have to be capitalized. I like to see it capitalized. From room, group by hotel number. So I'm going to get average price. I think that the each hotel is in there as a different number, but let's just see what happens. Oh, okay, we have 222. The average price is $161. And then we have that other one. We have a lot of 222s. And then we have the other one, which is 75.60. So that is the query that we were doing this morning in terms of the syntax. So let's take a look here. So we created that table for the booking old. Now we want to take and insert into booking old. Remember earlier this morning we were doing the insert, and I said you could take an insert and use it with a subquery. And the subquery, as an example here, let me just show you the subquery results that we would get. I'm going to take the subquery out of here so that we can see what we're looking at. And this is actually two queries. So don't do this yet. I'm going to do it this way actually. Copy. So this query here is selecting star from booking, where the date 2 is less than the date of January 1st, 2000. So if I do that, I'm going to get an error. And the error I'm going to get is going to be, you have error on your syntax, check the manual. It's a syntax error. Okay, so let's go back up here. And yes, I know exactly what the problem is. My quotes are wrong because of my paste. There we go, that looks much better. And then it's a paste error. Now I'm going to run it again to see what the query results are going to tell me. And they're going to tell me this. The query results come back and tell me that there's one room in here. It's a guest number, excuse me, there's one hotel, H111, with guest number G111, that has a book date in that year. So what this is going to do, it runs the subquery. It's going to insert into booking old the results of this. I'm going to run this without deleting it from booking. I'm not going to run the second part. I just want to run the first part to show you. So if I run the first part, now remember, booking old is empty. If I look at the browse it, it's completely empty. And I know it's empty if I do this. I can just say select star from booking old. And if I select star from booking old, let's see, comes up, it says nothing. There's nothing in there. So if I run this query here, and I'm going to have to fix the query because my pasting, it's these quotes here that are problematic. There you go, make sure that one's probably good too. So insert into booking old, select star from booking where date _2 is smaller than date _1. When we ran this query, one record came up. I'm going to take this record now, I'm going to insert it into booking old because it's selecting star from booking. If you select star, you get a query that results in the result set of the proper order of the query. So it's just going to take the first column, second column, third column. If that's the case, you can take first column, second column, third column from the select and then insert it into the other table. So if I do this, we're going to see that other table populated. So now if I go into booking old, now booking old has that entry. So you can select a bunch of records that meet a certain criteria from a regular table, and then you can take and put it into the backup table. And then in this rest of this command, it's deleting from booking where the date is equal to or less than. So you could pull it out of the original. So if you want to archive records from a database and you want to make sure that you're saving all the data, you would copy it. You run a query on the first table, copy the query results in one step using an insert into the other table, and then delete it out of the first table. So it's kind of a quick and animated way of putting it together. So this is part 1 of this tutorial. And I know we've been sitting here for a while, so we're going to take a short break because that other class is on break right now too, I see. When we come back, I want to sort of finish this. Queries. We're going to run some more queries, and then in this particular section, look at this. We have simple queries we're going to write ourselves. We're going to list the full details of all hotels. So we're going to guess at how to do these things and do them as a group. And then we're going to look at the aggregates and stuff. So we're going to write some queries for the rest of today. So let's take a break before we jump into that. So let's stop this recording.